50 Cent has once again taken advantage of a circumstance to push his agenda. The discussion this time is around the game's recent $7 million legal defeat. The football player must now sell his property to cover the damages after a court ruling addressed severe allegations of domestic abuse. The internet is reacting swiftly, and social media is roiling with criticism and satire. 50 Cent has contributed to the situation's deterioration and raised public awareness of it. The fundamental trend of the conflict is being given more attention.
He was busting real bullets. One of my homies got hit. He's still alive, and in jail. But yeah, man, like we was shooting, they was shooting, shit was crazy. And I don't even know who fired the first shot. I just know we were shooting.
The accusations against the game are similar to those made against other corporate bosses in the past, raising concerns about deeper behavioral linkages. Now, some people are questioning whether this is just another case of abuse of unchecked power. This dispute between 50 Cent and the game started in the early 2000s and was founded on a well-known dispute that G-Unit initially helped to organize with Dr. Dre's help. The duration of the game was even though 50 Cent made a significant contribution. Tension soon rose. The dramatic consequences from their professional breakup included lyrical insults, court battles, public allegations, and viral encounters. The conflict started more than 20 years ago. This ongoing issue, which has been maintained by public interviews and online platforms, will continue to influence hip-hop history.
So hurt. He really looked up to you.
How could you have an assessment on a person who's flip-flopped the entire career? He almost bipolar. If you watch it, like the way he does things, like he'll do it like he's extremely emotional.
50 Cent continued his strategy of internet warfare by hitting the game with a barrage of memes and derogatory comments. In one infamous phone call, the game accused 50 of being a snitch, to which 50 retaliated by making fun of the game's infancy. The video went viral on social media, escalating the already present hostility. Now let's discuss the current state of affairs. The game's mansion has been officially reoccupied as a result of a court ruling. In order to settle a lawsuit worth millions of dollars, the property was stolen. Furthermore, 50 Cent didn't spare any time, turning the situation around for the better. His accurate and captivating post caused the incident to go viral. He takes a methodical approach rather than a random one. Criticizing celebrities has become a significant part of 50 Cent's public persona. The tendency is clear, ranging from disparaging Ja Rule and Young Buck to making fun of Wendy Williams. The game is the latest addition to that expanding roster. The targets, nevertheless, are not exclusive to the game. 50 has also increased its attention on Diddy in response to new allegations. Using his platform, 50 Cent expressed his disgust over surveillance footage that CNN had released and that was linked to a high-profile legal case. Questions concerning Diddy's public defense were raised by a harsh remark on one post that included the hotel footage. The evaluation of each case update began with the digital attempt. 50 Cent has regularly used his web platform to make jabs as a public opinion tribunal. Even though Diddy is currently facing severe legal issues, the criticism has just gotten worse.
And we good. It ain't no drama. I ain't gonna see 50 and whoop his ass at 40 years old.
Then it goes to extremely aggressive.
50's like an asshole. 50 can't rap.
He went overseas and he had an issue with Memphis Bleak and Jay-Z on stage. He asked me about Piggy Bank, so he could say I don't have a problem with nobody.
50 had problems with like Nas, Fat Joe, and I think the Locks at that time. I really wanted to hold down G, you know what I'm saying? But like these were guys that really influenced my life.
50 has released in-depth examinations of alleged cover-ups, comparisons to Harvey Weinstein, and vague indications that additional information could be available. The post portrays the pursuit of total visibility as a never-ending online investigation. Another longtime target, the game, was deftly reintroduced into the public eye by 50 when Diddy was involved in legal issues. The rapper's future doesn't seem promising at this time either. For comparison, in 2016, the game experienced a major legal setback. The Priscilla he was sued by Reignites, a contestant on his She's Got Game reality program on VH1, who said he acted inappropriately during filming. Court documents claim that after being forced to drink, Reignites was mistreated on camera, but the producers remained silent. The game supposedly never appeared in court to defend himself, which is the most damaging element. As a result, the judge issued a $7.1 million default judgment. A fine of this nature is not negligible. The sword that lasts forever, you know. Since that ruling, the payment has been a significant issue, and Reignites employees are putting in more effort to collect through enforcement proceedings. Now let's discuss the current state of affairs. The judge in charge is impatient. A court decision may lead to the sale of the game's opulent Calabasas estate. This $4 million property boasts a large pool, guarded entry, and luxurious views. It won't, however, cover the full $7.1 million debt. He still has about $3 million in his possession.
50 is gonna be a power in hip hop at any moment from now. It's like 50 back, he gotta be standing next to me. And so yeah, we started to distance ourselves when we were recording Hater Love It. That was one of the nights where we ain't...
With almost $400,000 already recovered from royalties, Priscilla Rainey has made slow but steady progress in collecting her judgment in the interim. The game had spent years promoting itself on social media, so Rainey would get nothing. However, she's doing more than that from a legal standpoint. The court ultimately took action as a result of the game's attempt to hide the ownership of the house. It was incorporated as a shell company with the name JT Holdings. Behavior was deemed dishonest by the court. That strategy was a complete failure and just made matters worse. Then Rick Ross entered the picture just as the chaos was getting out of control. He made fun of the game despite having a personal relationship with 50 Cent. Friends and rivals joined in as the public roasting intensified. The legislation was not the only factor in this defeat. It was viewed by the industry and media as a complete collapse of their reputation. Rick Ross had to make fun of him. In an Instagram title, he said right away that the game might cause him to lose his Calabasas home. Ross added an image of a man dancing in swimwear as one of the additional presents, which is obviously rude and is regarded as internet trolling.
Me and 50 ran into each other at a popular strip club in Hollywood, West Hollywood, called AOD, Ace of Diamonds. We didn't really run into each other. I knew that he would be there, so I pulled up. Because like I said, everything with me and 50 needs to happen face to face. That was our relationship when we was face to face. You know what I'm saying? It only gets misconstrued when we can't see each other. That if he get in my face, he gonna have to show up as like Curtis, and I'm gonna have to show up as Jason Young. We were friends, and we made great music. He can't make great music with nobody else.
However, that kind of action was not tolerated by the game. Reports state that Ross sent Ross a message that caused his DMS to burn the timing. He said, "That Olympic will kill you before the Twinkies do. You're still a fat ninja even if I lost my house," which I didn't. 304 Ninja. The violent response notably targeted Ross's health, weight, and in an Instagram stories post following Ross's alleged account suspension, Game said, "The officer got my account put in jail for a day. Do any of you like these oddballs?" Shade enthusiasts instantly concluded that Ross's prior employment as a jail officer was directly referenced in that officer's statement. For good measure, he continued to use cryptic comments, but then things spiraled out of control once more. "He is a dummy for not showing up for the court date," someone commented on the internet, and it was widely circulated. The decision was handed down to her without any opposition. How is it possible to lose $7 million? This is now a full-fledged ego battle on all the screens, not just a little drama.
First thing that happened, he went overseas. His first week numbers came back. He said something about Jay because he was supposed to have ran into Memphis Bleak and had some sort of beef. First, I was trying to get in contact with Jay because I was like, he just got off. Like, Jay'll stomp him out. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, wait, let me get in contact with him to stop him from going back. I can fix it before it actually happens. And then before I could actually get to him, I went up and he was calling the radio station saying, "Yo, put me on the air, put me on the air." His way of trying to fix that situation was saying, "I don't have no problem, not with Jay-Z, not with Memphis Bleak, but I don't have a problem with nobody. I don't have anything to do with that record, Piggy Bank, that 50 Cent got or anything else." So he was trying to separate from you completely. I'm like, all right, well then get rid of him before he even get a chance to make the statement, since he's saying it internally over and over. So I'm not gonna wait for him to say it publicly, and I said it first, and then it got into, that's why we got this office.
Priscilla Rainey won the game without any objection. He continued to be active online. He skipped the hearing, and he appeared astonished when the court moved to collect. The backlash was fast, and social media was ablaze with emotions. However, social media took a negative turn, with some people beginning to twist the story to blame the victim rather than hold the game accountable. Reignites' looks were also questioned in one particularly concerning comment, which implied that she appeared to be 304. Fortunately, many individuals stepped in to prevent this and highlight the true problem, which was a court decision in response to grave charges that weren't even disputed in court. As the repercussions have developed, the public's reaction has been split, resulting in a disorganized and unnerving dynamic where some publicly denounced the game and others placed the guilt on the woman. Now that the situation is significantly worse, individuals are beginning to draw. A serious court case evolved into a full-fledged online circus when public opinion and legal accountability clashed, demonstrating how vicious things can get when facts and social criticism collide. The mayhem didn't end there. Some argued that the show might have contributed to the toxic atmosphere, while others erroneously justified the game by stating Reignites was the one who initiated the altercation. Discussions shifted from the lawsuit to the format of VH1 shows. Misogynistic victim blaming was evident in this instance. Despite the lack of a comparable video in the gaming complaint, the court filings present a comprehensive, unsettling image that is garnering new interest. Long confined to blog posts and unacknowledged interviews, women's rumors that the game was violent or produced unsafe circumstances are again being revived. It is difficult to ignore the similarities between the game's legal issues and Diddy's unsettling accusations, which include inappropriate behavior, intoxication, and manipulation often while the cameras were rolling and no one intervened. Diddy and the game feel like they are being singled out unfairly. Although that persecution scenario is beginning to sound familiar, it is actually about power, habits, and a culture that is ultimately compelled to confront itself because of documented court decisions and mounting public uproar. Although Diddy and the game both insist that the claims are untrue and that they are the targets of coordinated takedowns, court documents, ongoing legal proceedings, and the release of real footage are rapidly shifting public perception. There is evidence, and people are demanding answers and accountability. Therefore, these are no longer theories or rumors. Diddy's infamous mansion parties, which were usually cloaked in quiet and secrecy, the game was played. NDAs were signed, phones were confiscated, stories never left the building, and the same parties are today under investigation by the federal government. Diddy's team claims Cassie and others are looking for settlement, but given the growing accusations, court decisions, and supporting evidence, it is impossible to overlook the parallels between the two cases. Naturally, people are beginning to question how strong that link is, what the game might have accomplished in those years, and what he might have seen if he had been in those rooms at those events. Critics and supporters are finding it more difficult to reject the idea that these aren't isolated occurrences, but rather are part of a broader pattern as the previous associations and overlapping charges begin to blur together. Some have started to hypothesize that, just by being surrounded by the intensity such exclusive situations fostered, the game may have absorbed some of the traits he demonstrated during his affiliation with Diddy in the early 2000s. To be fair, the game's history has a lot of enlightening moments that are today viewed differently. The game's wild storytelling has long been recognized, but in the present context, those stories are being scrutinized more thoroughly. In the conversation, the game nonchalantly disclosed that he had sex with Blac Chyna, brushing the claim aside as if it were unimportant. After the video became popular on the internet, people started to meticulously examine the entire episode, with many noting the peculiar atmosphere of the interview, the awkward discussions, and the bizarre tone. The discovery and the way the exchange was presented were attacked by supporters, and endure more severe criticism. Tokyo then gave Tony a fierce look before stating, "I heard you messed with my daughter." She instantly responded, "Me too," suggesting that she would like a turn as well. As the conversation went on, instead of recoiling, the game said, "I'll take one for the team." In addition to what was said, the careless way the video was handled drove social media into a frenzy, which increased worries about the game's public image at a time when people are paying closer attention to how celebrities behave. 26 mandatory anger management classes and 3 years of probation were the outcome. If we go back to 2007, we discover another incident with a weapon charge attached, demonstrating how persistent this animosity has been. During a basketball game, he allegedly brandished a gun and threatened someone. In addition to being a draw, carrying a weapon on a basketball court is obviously irresponsible. The game's claim that he is being misinterpreted or singled out is refuted by his past legal history, and the evidence is mounting. He entered a no-contest plea to the 2007 felony gun charge and was sentenced to 3 years in jail, 150 hours of community service, and 60 days in prison. Probation is no longer seen as a time of misfortune, but rather as a pattern of unbridled hostility and instability. It shows someone who struggles to keep things under control when it counts most, and that someone is none other than Curtis 50 Cent. Jackson's unique technique is leaning into the chaos as he watches this drama unfold in real time with a knowing smile, reposting viral memes, making scathing remarks, and letting the world know that he's been waiting for this moment all along. The narrative extends beyond the most recent disputes involving the game. A lengthy history is at last being brought to light in the court of public opinion. The 50-place commentator is cool under pressure from the sidelines, but let's call it what it is. 50 Cent isn't merely making jokes to get attention. For years, he has been scolding these same people. The game's mention is listed on Zillow. With popcorn in one hand and a small smile in the other, 50 has blogged about Diddy's businesses crumbling one by one without showing any worry. However, don't think this is the end. He's already working on a documentary trailer called G-Checks, and lawsuits to accompany it. He may even release a soundtrack. His ability to transform disagreement into a campaign is exemplified by this. A little ahead of the curve. Does the game just depict a different artist whose notoriety couldn't rival Fallout's? Or is he part of a broader, darker hip-hop trend that is at last reaching a crescendo? With more secrets being revealed, litigation mounting, and footage all over the place, the spotlight is only going to become brighter. Who will be the subject of the next major query? Kindly leave a comment with your ideas. Are icons disintegrating, or is something far more damaging on the horizon? Do not forget to click the like, subscribe, and bell buttons to make sure you don't miss anything. We appreciate you watching. Grab the next one. Thank you for viewing.